made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 31. Hunter Keister back with
Came back. Let's go.
Week 1 is in the books, aside for a Monday night matchup for Clemson and Georgia Tech. But the majority of games are now completed and in the books, as it was a pretty interesting day of college football. We had some overtime matchups. We had, a nice close top 5 matchup between Ohio State and Notre Dame to end the night. So we are going to start off going into week 1, diving into our picks and just some general reactions to each game. We will then get into Jim Harbaugh and Cade McNamara, as they both had some pretty interesting things to say following Michigan's win today. And then we will finish off the podcast discussing the College Football Committee deciding to go to a 12-team playoff format due to happen around 2026 as it stands right now. So we will start off with our Week 1 reactions to the games that happened today. Kurt, what did you think of today as an overall week of college football?
I think it was a really good opening Saturday. A lot of really enticing games, good matchups, and some really exciting results. Some upsets happened all over the place, but overall, a pretty good Saturday, I would say.
Starting off, we have the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide, 55-0 against Utah State. Nothing to really write home about. Bryce Young runs for 5 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty insane. With throwing 18 of 28, 195, and 5 touchdowns. Great day for Bryce Young. Absolutely. I don't want to touch on Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Georgia, Oregon just yet, so we're going to skip those and go down to another blanking as Texas A&M 31-0 over Sam Houston. King goes 29-31 for 364. Their highest running back only had, so he must have had less than 60 yards running if he had, that's crazy. But then 6 catches, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Smith. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay. In a shocking game, down to the wire, to the very end, 29-26, Florida. What a game, Kurt. What a game.
Yeah.
Game-sealing INT saves Florida on the goal line as Utah was looking to punch it into the end zone, and Florida's defense comes up and they take out the number 7 team in the country, as these rankings were all projected, so they really don't mean too much. But it's a big win for Florida, coming in unranked and already having a top 10 win under the belt.
Absolutely.
We will briefly touch on Michigan's 51-7 victory. This game was just basically what I expected. I didn't expect Cade to get pulled in the third and JJ to remain in for most of the remainder of the game. I think that showed a lot, and I think you could kind of see on Cade's face that he kind of could see the writing on the wall that was happening in front of him. We'll touch on that in a little bit, though, and we'll leave it at that as Michigan wins 51-7 and starts off the year 1-0. Oklahoma, UTEP, 45-13. UTEP's quarterback throws for 244 yards. That's not bad. Running back Gray gets 100 yards, and Mims, their best receiver, has a 3 receptions for 81-yard day. Baylor, Albany, a 69-10 trouncing as the Baylor Bears started off right. Their quarterback only throws 2 touchdown passes. That's crazy. 69 points scored, 2 touchdowns. Their running back, 69 yards but 2 touchdowns. And their best receiver goes 4 for 84 and a touchdown.
Probably got some defensive scores.
Yeah, had to have. In a shocker, NC State barely escapes East Carolina. 13 NC State, 21-20. as East Carolina almost pulled off a massive upset. The East Carolina quarterback goes 25 for 41, 267 and 2 touchdowns. NC State's running back, 14 carries, 79 yards.
Missed field goal that would have won the game.
They did miss a field goal. I see that. Yep, misses a late extra point.
If they make those field goals.
And field goal to give. They missed the extra point and a field goal. That's got to hurt. Oh,
dang.
Poor kicker. That's got to hurt. Yeah, that's a rough one, man. USC in that new high-powered offense. Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison and company. All them new transfers. Lincoln Riley coming in from Oklahoma. And their first game is a 66-14 home victory. Caleb Williams goes 19 for 22, 249, 2 touchdowns. Rice's running back almost had 100 yards, going 6 carries for 99 yards. And
USC scored 3 defensive touchdowns.
That's insane. Yeah, I see that. Pick 6.
Wow.
They have pick 18. Yeah. 3 touchdowns. 3 pick sixes.
3 pick sixes.
Ty Washington, 4 yards for 65. But yeah, what a phenomenal start. Wow. Good enough.
The U putting up 70.
Yeah, that's
Buthen.
That's cool to see. I mean, the U getting back to the old ways of 14 rushes for their running back, 3 touchdown game. That's a nice start. The BCU quarterback was 11 for 20 on 243 and a touchdown on Miami's defense. That's not bad for BCU's quarterback. And their that's Miami's running back. Their receiver, 5 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. And they trounced BC 70-13. Wisconsin blanks Illinois State 38-0 in a game where Mertz goes 14 of 16, 219 in a score. Allen 14 for 148 and 2 touchdowns, as he'll be another great running back. As Wisconsin is definitely just turning out great halfback prospects. They've always had this great halfback.
They had a 100-yard interception return in the first quarter.
Oh, that's insane.
100 yards.
Wow. Their best receiver goes 3 for 106 in a score. And the defense obviously also does their part, getting in the end zone, so they win 38-0. Ooh, this was a good game. Arkansas, Cincinnati. I took Cincinnati. I thought about taking Arkansas. This was a really close game to me.
I think I took Arkansas.
And it lived up to the expectations.
Okay.
The quarterback for Cincinnati, 26 for 43, 325. Running back for Arkansas, 20 for 117. And Cincinnati's top receiver was 5 for 77. Kentucky beats on Miami of Ohio 37-13. Kentucky's quarterback, 21 of 32 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Great start. Miami's running back only records 50 rushing yards and a score. And Kentucky's best receiver, 6 receptions for 136 yards. That's a pretty good day.
Ole Miss beat on Troy 28-10.
Nice. Yeah. Their quarterback, 275 in a score on Ole Miss's defense isn't bad. 130 on 20 carries is really good for Ole Miss's running back. 5 receptions for 60 isn't bad for Troy's receiver. Houston, UTSA, triple OT.
Wow.
On a leaping 2-point conversion from Clayton Tune sends Houston the win. Triple overtime. UTSA's quarterback, 28 of 43 for 337, 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
Rushing the ball, he led the team for UTSA. Harris records 8 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. And their best receiver, Cephas, goes 7 receptions, 106 yards and a touchdown. As UTSA almost pulled up the upset in triple OT, but Houston survives the scare with an incredible 2-point conversion.
Look at that. Both their quarterbacks led their teams in passing and rushing.
Wow, that's
You don't see that often.
No, you absolutely do not. BYU beat South Florida. Hall for BYU, 25-32, 261, 2 scores. Brooks records 13 carries for 135. And South Florida's best receiver goes 5 for 113.
Wow.
Oklahoma State, 58 points.
Took him all of 11 seconds to score his first touchdown.
Oh, that's
75-yard run play.
That's insane. Richardson for Central Michigan, 424 and 4 touchdowns. Dang. The running back for Central Michigan, 26 carries, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had a good-ass game. I mean, they don't lose this game on more than, 14 points.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State receiver records 133 yards on 6 receptions and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad game at all out of Central Michigan.
Central Michigan was down big time and then came back.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought too. Pitt, West Virginia ended up being an incredible game. I'm sad that I fell asleep right at the end of it. But Pitt wins 38-31 as Slovis and JT Daniels dueled to the end. Slovis finishes 16-24, 308 in a score. West Virginia's tight end, 7. What is it? It says Donaldson, the tight end. I don't know why it said this. 7 carries for 125. Maybe he played running back and a score. I don't know why it said that, but West Virginia also had a receiver have 9 receptions, 97 yards, and 2 scores. That is a great game. Yeah, that was just an incredible game.
I heard that was a really good game.
It was. It was definitely a good one to see. And West Virginia also had some really nice away uniforms. I like those a lot. Wake Forest beats VMI 44-10. Griffin for Wake Forest 21-29, 288, 3 scores. Turner for Wake Forest 13 carries, 100 yards, 2 scores. And Morin for Wake Forest 5 for 74 and a score. And Wake Forest just rolls VMI easily. A game that was pretty close to the end, 35-13. Western Michigan kind of hung around. Peyton Thorpe played alright. I mean, 12. He was 233 yards and 4 touchdowns, so you really can't complain about that too much. But only 12 completions on 24 passes isn't the best, especially against Western Michigan. Yeah. But also that, I believe they have a transfer running back from Wisconsin, and he goes 16 for 120 and a score in the contest as Coleman, Michigan State's receiver, goes 4
They really
for
let
84.
him hang around.
Yeah.
They really let them hang around. 13-21 heading to the 4th. 1-score game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I remembered it being really close at the end.
Then Michigan State pulled away with a 1-yard rushing touchdown and a 43-yard pass. The pull ahead 13-35.
Picking these back up to somewhere Kirk kind of can analysis. What did you think of Georgia's 49-3 trouncing over Oregon? I absolutely thought that this was going to be a close game, and actually I predicted Oregon, but Georgia came out and just made me eat my words. They are incredible still on both sides of the ball, even replacing all those guys. They completely reloaded. I can already see. I mean, I know Oregon really isn't even on the same stratosphere as Oregon, but Georgia is just incredible. And Stetson Bennett played incredible again. I love that Milton from UGA ran hard. And then McIntosh, 117 yards, 9 receptions. Their offense is great. Their defense were loaded. I mean, they're going to be a scary team in the SEC. Them and Bama will be probably another big-time championship game at the end of the year. But for the first game, they stomped Oregon. They shouldn't have been on the same field.
Yeah, that game wasn't close at all. I mean, you could just see it. Georgia's players were constantly open on offense. Oregon's defense played absolutely pitiful today. Open players everywhere, bad tackling. Georgia, I mean, it's a 1-game sample size, but they came out today and played really good. their offense, I think, is going to be really good with those two tight ends and Brock Bowers and their tight end that was injured last year.
Yeah, Washington, he's a beast. Some of those plays that he was
Those guys had some really good plays today. And their offensive line did a really good job, too. Pass protection for Bennett. And Georgia's defense looked really good today. Just sound, really good technical defense.
Good tackling.
Not beating yourself, good tackling. Good tackle after catch.
Kirby Smart's a really good coach. He really gets his guys to play, and he can really show you that he can send almost an entire defense to the league and come back the next year and just make the 11th team in the country look like they're a Mountain West scrub.
Yeah.
It's insane what he's done at Georgia, and props to him for reloading and showing off in his first game of the year after
was
winning a national championship.
Was definitely a nice win, but I'm not gonna. With it only being 1 week, it's hard to really take a whole lot of stock in a lot of this. But it was a good showing for them, and shows they should have been ranked higher. But again, with rankings, these will all change 100%.
Yeah, this is all just
by the end of the season.
By the next couple weeks, the top 10 will probably be completely.
It's crazy because Oregon's head coach was actually
assistant at Georgia. Yep.
Was Georgia's D coordinator last year.
Right.
So, a bad showing for them, but Georgia probably does that to most teams. Just saying.
Georgia's gonna, like I said,
they're gonna be tough this year.
SEC football is gonna be fun to watch with some exciting matchups along the way. With Georgia and Alabama set to match up a couple of times, probably throughout the year. Mm-hmm. But we'll save that for another day and touch on Ohio State, Notre Dame, in a game where lackluster is what I would call the offense. I felt like both teams' defense played well. C.J. Stroud looked a little worse than I thought he would. Still, to me, very reluctant to run the football in times where I thought that it was very clear that there was rushing lanes. He just doesn't seem like he wants to be known as a rushing quarterback, and it just seems like he's fighting it to me. It's weird. Very interesting. He passes for 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 24-34. Henderson, 15-91. The running lanes kind of opened up for him late. I thought they ran the ball pretty effectively at times in this game, as well as they utilized those good receivers to an extent. Smith-Njigba goes out early with a concussion.
That's a big loss. I think that affected their game plan a lot, to be honest with you.
That kind of threw Mbuka into the spotlight, and he steps up with a 9-reception, 90-yard, 1 touchdown game. And Ohio State, I was talking at the end of this game, I don't know if I'm more surprised that Notre Dame's offense was this bad or that Ohio State only could muster 21 points in this entire game. I thought Notre Dame's defense was good, but I didn't think they were one of the top offenses in the country projected offenses in the country, whatever you want to call it, to 21 points in the entire contest. But Ohio State wins the matchup. They get the top 5 win. And, we'll see as the season goes along. But keeping up with Smith-Njigba and his injury going forward could be crucial for them.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame, to me, let this game slip through their hands.
They had a lot of opportunities to make plays and to win the game.
First off, they start off the game with a huge play, and they got the flag added on. You're already at the 20-yard line. You got to put up 7 there. You cannot settle for 3s in Ohio State in prime time. If you went to win those games, you had to put up 7s, 6s. And so I think that was a missed opportunity to capitalize on that situation right off the bat, just getting the crowd out of the game. Notre Dame's pass protection was bad tonight. They couldn't keep that pocket clean for their quarterback. He had to constantly scramble. He had some good mobility and actually was able to keep some drives alive and provide at least rushing. But to me, man, Ohio State did not play good first half. I actually talked about it. I said this game would remain close, and I really thought they'd open up the second half. And they definitely got into a better sync the second half, but still, I really thought Stroud played bad tonight.
Lackluster for sure.
They definitely looked really rusty. And he looked hesitant to me He looked very hesitant in some of his throws, his reads.
Yeah, a little nervous to move the ball around.
Yeah, like they looked like they were the underdog.
Right.
And I really think they were trying to pass the ball a lot, but really they were actually having success running the ball the first half, and they got away from that.
Right.
Just trying to, do what's probably better for them. But during the game, if it's working, just stick with what's working. And so,
yeah, I mean, in the first half, there wasn't even really a whole lot working for that offense.
No, because they were trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, they kept
and it wasn't in sync yet.
They wouldn't go to the run, and it kind of cost them as they allowed Notre Dame to hang around. And Notre Dame was always just one drive away from their offense. And although their quarterback used his legs effectively,
he was not an effective thrower.
He was not an effective thrower, and 10 points is just never going to beat anybody for you, especially if you get.
But Ohio State was bringing the heat.
You get blanked in the second half, but they did have some nice blitzes. I liked
those blitzes they were bringing worked good for them.
Yeah, so 21-10 victory. Ohio State starts off 1-0, and it'll be interesting to see what they continue to do this year. All right, bringing it back, going to discuss Cade McNamara and Jim Harbaugh, the QB battle that's going on between Cade and JJ, the comments that were made in today's press conference. We just want to touch on some Michigan news to kind of get the podcast going in the right direction, heading into week 2, the night game versus Hawaii, and JJ's first career start. Now, in this press conference, I mean, like I've been saying, I mentioned this earlier. Cade, they cut to him a couple of times as the game was ending. He looked shaken up. He looked nervous. He looked disappointed in the situation. Because, I mean, he was effectively benched in the third quarter and not allowed to return in this game. And that's just something we haven't seen a whole lot. We haven't seen a whole lot out of Harbaugh to do to his starters, his trusted guys that he's had. He hasn't ever really gone away from them like this. And he really kind of showed me he wanted to give the keys to JJ as the one thing that sticks out to me. 2 red zone trips, 2 field goals. 1 red zone trip, 1 touchdown for JJ. It's really as simple as that, man. Like, JJ just gives you so much more than his legs. He just opens up the fear. It's going to help your running game. They're not going to be able to load the box because they'll be able to pass if they do that. I don't see how he doesn't win the starting job at this point. I thought that 3 games wasn't going to be enough at the beginning of the year. Now I think that he ultimately could have won the job today. And I think that he has the very good potential to cement it next week and for him to go into week 3 and beyond the starter. As long as he doesn't do something to really mess this up next week, I think he proved enough to me at least that I would tab him the starter in Michigan. But Cade's comments, which I want to get into first, were a little bizarre to me. He mentioned he thought Harbaugh's play was pretty unusual, so that just to me just tells you that he doesn't like it, obviously, because he's the starter. He thinks he deserves to continue to be the starter, and his job shouldn't be on the line in his mind. Whatever, that's your own opinion. I do not agree with you in any sense of the word on that, but of course you're the starter from last year, you're allowed to have your opinion. So he thinks that it's pretty unusual and that he was not expecting it after he thought he had his best camp. Like, he just did not play well enough to come out and say that he had his best camp. You cannot mention that after the game that you just played. I realize you had some drops, but your best throw of the game was a hit route for 60 yards in the score. Yep. I get you had some drops. You had a couple nice throws and some nice windows, I'll admit. But I'm just saying, JJ came in and to me, he did more at this time than what he was able to do. Because for the most part, they just ran the ball when he was in because they were able to run it better because they had to focus on JJ and the read option potential. 100%. So, to me, like I said, those responses were just a little, I think Cade's kind of seen the writing on the wall and just kind of taking some digs on the way out of the starting role as this probably a hurtful time for a Big Ten winning championship quarterback getting benched just mere months after all that happened for you. But to me, it just isn't it just isn't close, man. It just isn't. And it isn't going to be close to me. I think that JJ cements it next week. And if you're gonna, I predicted JJ in week 3, and now I'm cementing it at this point as we get into our next the next podcast of the week. But I like it. Harbaugh or Kurt, what did you think? Pretty unusual. Not expecting it. Just what do you think of those comments?
It definitely sounds like it comes across as a surprise or slap to the face of Cade. Obviously, he feels like he cemented the job after training camp, and Jim definitely did not go with that game plan. To me, I think it was pretty obvious today that JJ is the better playmaker in the offense. This has so much more flexibility, and just there's so much. It just opens everything up so much more. And like you mentioned to me, and like you just mentioned, you get you get the ball, you get an interception at the 10-yard line, 20-yard line, and you come out with the field goal and potentially a turnover-worthy play that should have been a pick.
Yeah, literally drops to his hand at the last possible second. These are just barely an incomplete pass.
You can't make mistakes like that in big games.
That's a momentum-shifting play in a decently close game at that point. And like you guys are going to all say, oh, it's only Colorado State, everybody's overreacting. I'm always going to look at these games as we're supposed to win. You have to look big picture with these kind of things. And if we're looking big picture, Big Ten play and beyond, Cade McNamara showed me he's almost looked worse than what he was last year. And all this praise and most improved player and all this praise that he got, today he almost looked worse. And I get he'll be rusty. I get he hasn't played in months. But if we have a guy that's there, 5-star, all the potential in the world, I think next week he's going to prove that he deserves a chance. I
think to me it's JJ's job to lose at this point.
I think right now it is absolutely JJ's job to lose. He'll have to really mess this up.
It's JJ's, and Jim knows it. Jim was lying through his teeth trying to come up and mumbling for defending Cade, like coming up just looking for anything.
I love that he's going to try to have his guys back even in a not the greatest day that he had. But he did have some drops in his own right, and maybe, those receivers catch the ball, maybe he gets in rhythm better.
They also limited him, though.
They did.
They limited him, but even with the snaps he got,
he didn't do enough for me to say that he should start over JJ at all. And then, like I said, him playing most of that third quarter, and Cade because they panned to Cade like 4 or 5 times on those drives, just showing them on the sideline. It's like, it really shows you the confidence and the faith and the willingness of Jim Harbaugh to say, okay, let's see what this kid's got. I like the game plan, and I'm really excited for JJ to start.
I like that Jim was like, all right, Cade's not really doing much. Let's put JJ in there. There you go.
They also
there you go.
They got the guys out at a good time. They played a lot of their youth. I liked on the defensive side of the ball especially, we saw a lot of the guys rotating in. Defensive line, secondary guys played a lot. And I think we really got to see a lot of the youth that Michigan will have coming up through the program in the next couple of years. But this starting unit is going to be pretty good, I would say. I know it's Colorado State, but I liked the pressure we got from the outside and the interior. Our middle linebackers tackled well, even with missing our starter. I felt our secondary covered well, beside a Will Johnson bomb pass that he was actually on top of. He just didn't get his head turned around quick enough.
Colorado State didn't really throw the ball like that today.
And
they ran the ball actually a really good amount of times.
Right.
And most times,
I thought Michigan's tackling was very good today. Sanders still had a nice couple nice tackles, couple nice plays, playing defense, switching over from offense in that crowded receiver room. He found a home on defense, and I like it. If a guy's willing to come in and switch positions just to get on the field, I love it, and I want to see him play. But Michigan had a nice win over a unworthy opponent. But we'll take it going into the season. Good confidence for the team. And Kurt, any other closing remarks on that?
I thought the defense played really good today. Run defense was really good. I liked the way the run defense played. It wasn't just one guy that got there. The whole couple other guys got there. Each level got there really good. And for the offense, I liked our running game today a lot. I thought Corum did good. He had a nice hurdle play. Don Edwards had some nice runs, and JJ had obviously that read option, 20-yard touchdown. That was nice, and he provided some ability. I would just like him to slide sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't take those hits and don't run the risk of fumbling that ball. But overall, I thought we did good, and heck, we even scored on defense, fumble 6.
Yeah, Kurt called that to enter the half.
We were all watching the game, talking about predictions for the second half. I was like, we'll score 1 on defense, fumble 6, 1 passing, 1 rushing. And, yeah, I guess when you bring your 3rd and 4th stringers in, everything's going good. So,
yeah.
Good win. Good win.
Good win for sure. That will do it for our coverage of Week 1. We'll have to add in our little thoughts on Clemson next week. But we also did want to talk on some crazy news that we got in the last couple of days regarding the college football playoff. They will be expanding to 12 teams in the
2026.
The latest date would be 2026. Could be earlier if they get everything done.
But they're trying to do it as soon as 2024.
2026 is the no later than date. I will give my thoughts first. So to be honest, I've been clamoring for more than 4 teams. I didn't think that was enough. 6 or 8 was a great number to me. Nothing more. 12 is way too many. I get this was all about making money. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about anything else besides making money for the college football playoffs. And that's what all this was for. Because now, all those meaningful or those unmeaningful Peach Daddy, Go Daddy, Tax Slayer Bowl, you can market
Peach
those.
Bowl, Orange Bowl,
you can market those
Bowl.
as big time playoff games now,
Yep.
and that'll drive up the price of tickets, merchandise, all this extra stuff. So it's a good idea in the grand scheme of business, but
big business
for the consumer. I mean, it's good because we get a lot more football, but 12 teams is just way too much to me, man. I liked 8. I thought that would have been perfect. 12, I don't feel like a playoff, like even in NBA, that's 8. 12 is just too much for me, man. Why not just let the whole top 25 in at that point?
The number for me was always like 6. I like 6. I was fine with 8, but again, 12 to me is too much. I mean, top 10's even a lot, but now we're talking 12 teams. It's almost like they're trying to get a team or even up to 3 teams from every conference at that point.
Especially as conferences continue to merge together.
To me, it kind of ruins even, why even shoot for these lofty goals of winning your conference and finishing undefeated hey, we can just finish with 2 losses and get in as the same as this team that did way better than us.
Yeah.
That defeats the purpose.
You could also see guys getting rested in the last week of the year, knowing that some teams may have things locked up, which you would never see before in college football before this. So that would also bring a bad rep to the game of having to see guys sit out or potentially.
They're trying to diversify a lot too. I think they're trying to get some of these lesser teams more on the bigger stages to kind of get known. And really, this was all just one giant dollar bill sign. That's all it was.
Yeah, like I said, they don't care about the consumer or the actual game. They just cared about what's overall going to put the most money into their pocket. But I do agree.
12's too much. That means we would have had a bye week last year and then played the winner of Michigan State and some, I don't remember what team it was. It was some, these teams don't deserve to be in. They don't even deserve a chance. The standard is winning your conference or being a one-loss team.
Right.
And that's fair. That's the best of the best. This should be the best of the best.
You're going to have some 2-loss, maybe even a 3-loss.
You're going to see this more throttlings.
Yeah. Yeah, and most
because there'll be such a gap
most
and difference.
Most of the opening games, like the 2 versus 12 game or the 1 versus 12 game.
Georgia, Oregon.
That's gonna be another
number 3 versus 11 or 10.
You're right.
That's what you're gonna. That's all it's just gonna be.
You may have but I mean I guess it's all about the once in a while shocking upsets. But like I said, it's all a money grab. That's all it was. They didn't care about the consumer. What would have made more sense for the actual game. It just made more.
I was all for expanding. 6 or 8's cool.
Yeah.
6 or 8's cool. I'm cool with those. But 10 or 12, double digits, no mas. No bueno.
But it's what's happening, so gotta learn
Everybody
with
get
it,
used to it.
rock with it, learn it, live it. Let's get it. 12-team playoff implemented. 2026
Hey,
at the
you
latest.
know what that means? I'm all in for playing you know who more.
Right. Give me
That'd
more.
be sweet.
Give me more cracks at them motherfuckers, man. Give me more cracks at them. I think we got it covered pretty well. Our first double podcast week, and
absolutely.
Yeah. Good podcast. 30-ish minutes covering week 1.
More big things to come. We'll be up there next Saturday.
Yeah. We'll see it. We might do some kind of video for the game on the YouTube channel. Haven't decided that yet, but we'll be up there, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
As we start our NFL coverage.
Oh boy.
For our 2-a-week podcast. But for episode 31, Hunter Keister.
K-Mac.
That'll do it. Let's go. Great podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment your thoughts on week 1.
Who do you guys rep?
Yeah, let us know your teams and what you guys think of our opinions, good, bad, or the other. We love to sit there and debate with people, so just let us hear it. I love doing this shit. He loves doing it, so sound off in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. We want to take this thing big places. We got big plans. Hope you guys enjoyed Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Episode 31. Peace.
Adios.